Okay, thank you for the introduction, Brady. Today I'm here with a special guest who is a second year law and art student at the University of Queensland. Welcome, Common.
Thank you, Brayden.
So today we'll be discussing about whether employees should or shouldn't use social media screening in the hiring process. But before we get to that, I don't think it's about should or shouldn't they. I think it's about can they. Because when you post content online, there is no erase button. You can delete it, but once you put it out there, it's out there forever. This information that can tell so much about a person's personality and behaviour is readily available for employees. So my first question for you is, when you go out into the workforce, would you be comfortable having an employer do a check on your social media before hiring you?
I would say so because I tend to separate what I show to the public and what I have privately. So I wouldn't post any inappropriate or possibly crude images. So I would be okay if an employee was to search me on Google, say.
Because based on a 2018 survey by Career Builder, it states that around 70% of employees use social media to screen applicants during the hiring process, and this figure was extracted from Business News Daily.
That's a high figure.
I feel like this represents that because the data is there, they will use it. But there's no strict law to say that employees can't. So do you think it is ethical to do a background check, or do you believe it's an invasion of privacy?
I think that companies do have to respect an individual's privacy and judge their character based on their performance in their workspace rather than to seek out for personal social accounts. But I do, on the other hand, believe that it's difficult to screen for companies who do search their employees' social media, and we can't really have a preventative measure to stop that.
What makes social media screening so controversial is that social media profiles usually contain private information that cannot be asked in a job interview, such as ethnicity, sexuality, race, religion, or marriage status. So my question is, could social media screening benefit or disadvantage particular applicants more than others? I mean, based on ethnicity, race, or sexuality.
Yeah, definitely. I've never thought of it in that respect, but I can definitely see how it could act as a bias factor for companies employing.
Do you believe there's any kind of information that should not be obtained during social media checks, and how this information can be used?
Um,
Because online there's so much private information and
yeah.
things that you mightn't want them, that won't really, things that don't really affect the job, but they might discriminate you based on
I feel like the employee should be measured on their actual job performance while at the workplace, rather than scrutinised for every moment of their private lives. So I do think there should be a definite boundary in how much a company can obtain from looking through those websites.
There's another thing it comes down to is how reliable is the information online. Are there any social media applications that you believe would be, which one do you reckon would be the most accurate at depicting an applicant's personality and behaviour? Because one study by Rosen in 2018 discovered that Twitter profiles can accurately predict an applicant's personality and behaviour. Using this, hiring managers can find applicants who possess the characteristics that are most suitable fit for the company.
Yeah, I do feel like Twitter or Facebook would be more accurate over, say, Instagram, because on Instagram people tend to post a lot of fabricated images of themselves.
They can really cut down on the applicants based on that, so that it really saves them time, so they don't have to interview, because they mostly do this before the interview process. So then it can save them time based on how many people they interview.
That's true. I guess that could act as an advantage for smaller companies, especially where they don't have the workforce.
Here's another quote from the Social Media Screening and Procedural Justice article by Eva Vossen. Past behaviour can be a good predictor of future behaviour when it comes to the discovery of illegal or harmful activities that may later cause damage to co-workers or customers.
Maybe it's because I'm a law student and law can't be applied retrospectively, but it seems very unfair to judge an employee based on a period where they weren't even employed for the company.
Yeah. Do you believe it depends on the occupation though? I feel like some occupations would be more important to screen their social media. Like if you're working with kids, I feel like if you're a teacher, what you're always representing the government, because if the kids find your social media and it's inappropriate, so what do you believe is more important for some occupations, like a teacher compared to a truck driver?
Yeah, definitely. Because a teacher is in the position of influencing so many other people, whereas I feel like a truck driver relatively interacts with people less, and therefore the stakes are lower, even if they do have some inappropriate content on their social media.
So after the interview, have your thoughts on whether or not they should or shouldn't change, or do you believe that it depends?
I actually thought that privacy of each individual should be respected by the companies, but now I see that a lot more stakeholders were involved in this issue, so it was good to have the perspective, and I do think it depends for every case and every scenario.
Do you have anything else you would like to say?
No, none that comes to mind.
Well, thank you for doing the interview.
Yeah, thank you for the thought-provoking questions.
And back to you, Braden.